What's up YouTube? I'm Yajji, and today we're going to be talking about how you can start improving your rank by improving certain aspects of your gameplay. There's a lot to Overwatch, such as aim, hero compositions, and hero picks, but today we're going to be focusing on mainly 3 things that will help you improve your rank. And before I get into this video, I just want to say that I made this video because I get a lot of people asking me about tips to get out of diamond into masters, or from plat into diamond, or from gold into platinum. And if you guys really listen to what I'm about to say in this video and apply it, you guys should see your overall gameplay and performance go up. So sit back, relax, and take some notes. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 things: positioning, awareness, and decision making. Now, a lot of players below masters might have 1 or 2 of these down, but it's only when you have 3 of them and combine them together where you're able to see that improvement and get to that master's rank without having that greatest aim. I don't consider myself to have great aim, but I've been able to get to grandmaster on multiple counts, and I attribute this to my knowledge of positioning, awareness, and decision making. Let's break down why these 3 things are important. When it comes to positioning, there are 3 ways you can position yourself. The first one is flanking. This gives you the ability to make picks, distract the enemy, and apply pressure from different angles to make it easier for your team to push in. Make sure that before you go into a flanking position that you're confident in your ability to 1v1 other opponents on that particular hero. Otherwise, you might do more harm than good. Flanking solo is usually a high risk, high reward playstyle, and tends to work better on some heroes than others, such as Tracer, Genji, Soldier, etc. The next type of positioning is high ground positioning. You can combine high ground positioning with flanking to make it even harder for the enemy team to kill you while trying to make picks. There are a couple advantages to taking high ground, and a lot of people usually don't know why high ground is so important, so here are a couple of reasons why you should take high ground. Number 1, you're able to take cover more easily by simply stepping back. You're also harder to reach and flank, especially for heroes like Tracer. Number 2, you're able to avoid splash damage from rockets such as Soldier and Pharah, since they can't shoot at your feet, while you have an easier time shooting at people from above than they do at you. Number 3, it makes it harder for Hanzo to land his scatter arrow since he can't aim at your feet. Number 4, you're able to shoot down over Orion's shield or force him to look up. You can also reach enemies behind him, forcing them to take cover in another position, and overall adding more pressure to the enemy team. And finally, number 5, it's easier to hit headshots on high ground than it is from low ground, and the opposite is true as well. Here's a great example of high ground positioning when defending on Volskaya. You're able to keep an eye on the top left area for Pharahs, Genjis, or Hanzos, or whatever can crawl up there. You also have the option to fall back or hide behind this little thing if you've taken too much damage. And here's an example of flanking and high ground positioning on attack while on King's Row. This positioning makes it extremely hard for the enemy team to try and deal with you if they don't have a Genji or D.Va or a Winston. Just make sure to know your limits and try not to die while harassing the enemy team from the back, allowing your team to push in from the front. And finally, the last kind of positioning is behind your team or with your team. This is especially useful if they have flankers such as Winston, D.Va, Tracer, or Genji, where your team can assist you in case they jump on you. Team-based positioning usually means winning the shield war, since you'll spend most of your time just shooting at the shield and dealing damage to targets in front of you. Especially useful if you're being picked off by flankers or divers. It can be especially hard for the enemy team to stop a coordinated push, especially if you've made it past a certain point. And here are a couple of questions you should ask yourself when positioning yourself. Where am I vulnerable from? Where can the enemy see me, and where can I get attacked from? Who could get to me? Tracer, Genji, Winston, you need to be ready for any kind of attack. And once they do attack you, do you have a plan for getting to safety? These are just some of the things you should be thinking of when going for that high risk, high reward playstyle. Overall though, if you're playing a DPS hero, remember to utilize high ground and flanking when going on the attack. That way, you'll be able to create more of an opening for your team to push in. Alright, so let's move on to awareness and how it helps you. Awareness is so important because it can help you escape from getting picked, or it could help you in getting picks. It plays a huge role in Overwatch, and a lot of players at the lower ranks tend to lack awareness. Awareness means securing kills by knowing which targets are close to death. Awareness means knowing how many people are alive on your team and their team, so you can decide whether you should commit to a fight or pull out. Awareness is listening to footsteps and determining where the enemy is so you can avoid getting picked. Now, realistically, you won't be able to tell where the entire team is on your own, but that's why you have a team of your own to help you. Make sure that you're communicating to your team which targets are low on health and, more importantly, where they are. For instance, someone telling you where a Roadhog is can avoid you from getting hooked and then getting killed. It's really that simple, but people tend to forget the most simple things. After all, Overwatch is a game made up of little moments that have a big ripple effect into the match. So you don't have to make flashy plays or always have play of the game moments. Sometimes you just have to be at the right place at the right time, and that's a lot easier to do. Other things you need to be aware of while in a competitive match is when the enemy team's ult is going to be up, and you can tell this by how many failed attempts the enemy team has made to push onto the point. If you're playing Mercy, you'll be able to use that information to know when to hide. And if you're playing a healer, it means knowing if someone on your team needs healing and prioritizing healing that target rather than healing a target that's safe and waiting beside you to get healed. Awareness makes sure that you have all the information you need to make better decisions, which brings me to my next point: decision making. Decision making is knowing what to do with all the information you have. It means knowing if you should use your ultimate while you're in a graviton surge. It's knowing which hero to pick in a given situation, and more importantly, when you should switch. It also means knowing which type of positioning you should take in a given situation. Should you go for that flank? Should you stick with your team? Or should you go for that high ground? You see, alone these skills won't do much, but tie them in together and you start noticing improvements in your gameplay. And if you really don't have good aim, there are heroes you can play that don't require aim that you can apply all these skills in. Here are some heroes that aren't so aim intensive: Lucio, Mercy, Winston, Reinhardt, Symmetra, Mei. These heroes can have a big impact on a game, but you have to make sure that everything else you're doing besides aim is right. And here are some heroes that don't require that much aim but still do require some: Zarya, Ana, Pharah, Reaper, and so on. And then here are some heroes you should stay away from completely: Genji, Hanzo, Widow, McCree, and so on. Everyone is good at least one of the skills I've talked about earlier in this video, but when you master the other two, you'll start seeing the benefits and difference in your rank. Other things you can do to improve the pace of how well or how fast you improve is by recording your gameplay and watching it and looking for those mistakes. And remember, communication plays a big role in Overwatch, so remember to use the comms to communicate to your team where the enemy is, if they have ultimates or not, what ultimates were used, and so on. I know this is hard, but try to minimize the comms for toxicity, because toxicity does nothing but lowers morale and that leads to shitty games. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys learned a thing or two from this video, and let me know in the comments down below which area you think you have to improve on. But that's it for now. As always, I'll see you guys next time.